Been a minute, hasn't it? And a lot has changed. Now when I say a lot has changed, I don't just mean the garage. There's also a few additions to the bikes. However, not all of the bikes have changed. In fact, one of them still remains. If you've been following the channel for a little while, you'd probably be wondering what happened to the ZXR. Well, that had to get sold. Unfortunately, due to health problems with my back, I couldn't really ride it for a long period of time at all, if that, 20 minutes. But hey, at least I got the two bikes. Well, yeah, my insurance won't even touch me on that one. Flat out refused to insure it, so that sucks. And the Zontes, well, I got it fixed. And now the radiator's a bit of an issue where it's leaking. So now I'm waiting for a while before I even get the part. I also had a bit of a change of career. Now this career involves motorcycles because I am now a motorcycle instructor. Now as a result, a motorcycle instructor without a motorcycle just doesn't really happen. So in a bit of a pinch, I had to buy another motorcycle. And the motorcycle I ended up buying, I'm actually quite pleased about. It was a Hyacinth GT 650 Comet. But we'll talk about that another day. So you're probably wondering whatever happened to the build series regarding the garage. Well, unfortunately, I had a few corrupted files and I lost a lot of footage. By this point, I'd already gone jumping way ahead and then life got incredibly busy. However, I did actually manage to finish it up. So, stick with me and I'll give you a quick little tour. Okay, so let's start firstly with the wall. So, this garage is only 7 meters long by 2.5 meters wide. I also wanted to protect the motorcycles. So by building this wall, I was able to 1, insulate it, and 2, keep my bikes safe. It is much harder for me to get my bikes out, yes. However, if it is awkward, for me, it's awkward to a thief. At the same time, because the garage door is literally right behind it, which is why I have the curved recess around here, because of that, I'm actually able to utilize floor space and not actually lose it all. So really does help all around here. So as some of you remember, I have all my tools on the wall. Again, this isn't just to create a nice display, this actually has a massive purpose as well. Not only do I have ease of access, but all my tools are separated. The cases are separated. The cases are screwed down as well. The whole point is, 1, I can access my tools. 2, it looks really nice. But overall, if anyone was to come in and try and thieve it all, a socket set without a case, well, that doesn't really sell easily. And if they do try to grab it and yank it and go, well, again, they're going to smash everywhere, all over the floor, and it's going to take a thief a fair long time get away with it all. So again, making it more difficult for thieves to be able to take it. A whole bunch of other units that I had spare, I was able to put down nice and neat. And again, the added addition of fire extinguishers really does help. However, if I am going to use a CO2, I'm going to have to hold my breath or I'll pass myself out. So I don't recommend having a big can of CO2 in a small garage, unless you actually know what you're doing and you can not panic under pressure. However, that being said, the foam is a brilliant choice, especially in a garage. But again, it's probably a little bit overkill because that's a 5 litre and the garage just really isn't that big. The whole purpose of having the floor space as clear as you can do is because floor space matters more than head space. So I can honestly say that if you're going to have a small garage, the best thing you can do is to make sure everything's on the wall, out of the way, off the floor. Now over the years, you're likely to get a whole bunch of tools and lose bits or gain some, and you never know where they come from, but they come really handy. And the best part of this really is these magnetic strips that I got from, I think it was Lidl. So a couple of other things regarding the placement of why my tools are there, and the reason for that is sometimes I might have the bike and I'm working on it here. However, my other tools might be over there. So my main tools are here, so they're the ones that I usually want to be working with. However, sometimes it might just be easier to grab from over here. So by having all my old tools in one section, I don't have to keep jumping over the bike, especially when space in here can be tight. Another really cool factor are having drawers under my workbench. I can store so many things in here, and I've even got another little unit that I've just done. It's just slightly out of camera shot, but these are great. I've got them on soft closers as well, which again, so paint drawers, tools, all the good stuff. So for me, I love having a tidy garage, and a tidy garage means that I spend less time looking for the tool that I need and more time being able to do the things that I love. So for me, having things in the right places and a place for everything in its place is one of the things you really want to be doing if you have a small motorcycle workshop. Not only that, but it also gets very dirty very quickly. So having the wall has actually managed to stop half the dirt and the grime, the leaves and all of that kind of stuff. It's also kept a little bit of temperature inside, especially in the winter, and it really, really, really makes such a difference. Now, on the basis of keeping it nice, clean and tidy, you really kind of want to be able to have a dustpan and brush and even a broom. I actually use one of those pipe clippings to hold the broom there in place, and it does a brilliant job. It's always easily accessible, easily ready, because the last thing you want to be doing is working around a whole bunch of dirt, grime, and bikes bring stuff in anyway, so nice to keep it neat, clean and tidy. So, trying to find the right colour for the floor, I always knew it was going to be fire truck red. Absolutely love it, and it came out spot on. Was a bit harder to find it than I thought it would be. Apparently it's a bit more of a specialised colour. However, for me, the one thing I do find that works the most and the best is if I do drop a tool, 10mm, maybe I drop a nut, screw, washer, whatever. It seems to glisten pretty well and contrast as well with the colour of the floor. So 9 times out of 10 I'll find the tool, the bolt, anything that I may have dropped that I probably really need. So when it comes to the paint scheme of the garage, there is partly a reason that I went behind the whole red floor, black sides, red stripe and a white top. Now, I'm actually dual nationality. I was born in Seville in Spain, and one of the things in Spain is that when my dad had his own motorcycle garage as well, it's an actual establishment, they have a theme out there that they do. I have chosen the wrong kind of paint to do it with, but they tend to put the darker colours at the bottom with sort of a hard during wipeable paint, usually because it keeps that part from being knocked and scuffed, and they just have to paint that half of the floor rather than the whole wall. What they do as well is they put the top half in white because that reflects as much light as they can, makes the place look a lot bigger. So when you have a confined floor space, you want to use some big bright colours, but I just wanted to have a nice little contrast by throwing in a bit of black and a nice red stripe. And the reason I mentioned about being dual nationality with it is because it's very common in the garages of Seville, maybe in the 90s and 2000s sort of era. But for me, it's just a nice little nod to my heritage. So another thing I did was I installed a ceiling. Now with that ceiling, I didn't insulate it. I'm kind of glad that I didn't at the same time. One, it would have been really expensive. But two, the fact that it has that air gap anyway kind of retains a bit of heat. In the winter time, it holds a bit of heat, but not too much. In the summertime, it holds that heat, but it also lets it dissipate in the evening. And as a result, it's bearable to be in the garage. Currently outside, it's 29 degrees. Now I painted it black, and believe it or not, it also has sparkly black, a little bit of bling, just my own personal preference. The downside of doing a black roof is it does make it look a little bit smaller. However, when it comes to lighting, well, I've got a different set of light bulbs, and naturally the camera doesn't really pick it up, does it? But don't worry, I'm not going to be that mean and not tell you the kind of light bulbs that I have bought, because I highly recommend them. I am running 2 of them in the garage, 1 at either end, and the lighting in here, while it might not be great for YouTube, is actually amazing. So, I bought these off of Amazon. I think they cost me about £25 each. Really worth it. Worth their weight in gold. They fold, they flip, they move. You can get bayonet ones or you can get screw ones. They're not super expensive, but if you are having issues with lighting in your garage where it just seems a little bit dark, a little bit dingy, and you just want to be able to have light bouncing around everywhere, these lights, honestly, I'm not even affiliated with them, but just absolute game changer. By being able to twist them, I have a spotlight down and I have 4 other spotlights that I can move around. As a whole in here, it does a fantastic job. Another thing, as you can see, I can't keep getting so many angles of the garage because frankly, it is tiny. And already I have 3 of my own bikes and the added 2 from my children. So technically they're not mine, technically. So, would I do anything differently? Probably not, if I'm honest. Maybe the walls, I would have prepped them with some plaster and filled them in. The kind of material that they're made out of was an absolute nightmare to paint. Thankfully I had a paint gun and that made it the only way it was going to happen. Took a very long time to do. Okay, so quick little chat really. I tried to do this one as frugally as I could. So most of this timber here, believe it or not, this used to be a woodworking shop for me. I'm a carpenter by trade. For me, I had a whole load of timber left over. Sawdust and motorcycles just don't mix. So I didn't want to throw away the wood because that would be wasteful, and also as a lover of wood, I just thought that would be blasphemy to a certain degree, and I've really repurposed it and gave it a new life. So for me, that was always a win. Unfortunately, the front door that I did do, leading outside of the garage, that ended up having to be brand new timber, and that did work out relatively expensive. A couple of other little tips that I might recommend and suggest would be any wires, cables, cabling, nice, neat, keep them tucked out of the way. It took me a long time before I even bothered to do it, and do you know what, I really wish I'd done it sooner. I kept getting them caught with the handlebars, caught with the tools, caught on my feet. Keep the wires well away from anywhere. Just keep them nice, tucked, neat, out of the way, golden. So hopefully you've enjoyed the little tour of my motorcycle garage. Now, as you can appreciate, it is roughly about the standard size of a UK single garage, about 7 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, and I can just about touch the ceiling myself, and I'm only 5'7", I am sure. But yeah, if you made it this far, I'm really hoping maybe I've inspired you, given you some ideas, showing you that you can do some things quite frugally, quite cheaply. A lot of this, which looks expensive, was honestly just elbow grease. A little bit of engineering and thinking. Like I mentioned, the timber was all reclaimed. Half of it was even stained using engine oil. Old engine oil that I was about to throw away. So keeping the build and the garage as cheap as possible was definitely one of the factors. Obviously that ended up having to be brand new timber, which was a little while back now, so it wasn't as expensive as what it might be now. However, if you did enjoy the motorcycle tour, then please leave me a thumbs up. If you have got anything to add, maybe like stuff, again, leave me a comment, thumbs up down at the bottom. And hopefully I will see you again soon, because I've got a few bits more content that I need to get out. So, thank you ever so much. Smash the subscribe. Cheers. However, not all of the bikes have changed. In fact, one of them still remains.
Whip up my appetite.